guys, it's Jennifer from the Shooter's Mindset, and we are live with episode 447 of the Shooter's Mindset. We've got our co-hosts tonight. Greg, how's it going?
Good. How about y'all?
It's been a
Good.
Monday, except it's
Going well.
And our guest of the hour, which is who everybody really wants to talk to and ask questions of, we have Jared Trudeau and Josh Schreimer from Telson Optics. That's a mouthful. How's it going, guys?
It's good. It's good.
It's good. Well, it's going well. Yeah. Thank you for having us on the show.
I just want to clarify there's no relation there between us, me and that prime minister.
That's funny. You claim no connection.
No,
right?
no connection.
We double checked.
Yeah.
I noticed you're the only one that didn't put your last name in your Zoom name.
Just Jared.
That's funny. Well, so we met at
Nationals.
the Nationals, the NRL 22 National Championship. But for anybody that does not know y'all or kind of where you came from, I want you one at a time to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into shooting, and then kind of what you do in the industry and how you got into that.
Josh, you want to take off on that one first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So one of the always kind of felt drawn to hunting beforehand. So my father, a lot of people get into it from the traditional sense there, and so we kind of got into it on our own, my brother and I, and we just started, getting out in the field, trying it. We did archery first for hunting. It took quite a bit of sessions there on your own as you're learning it and what you're doing, and watching as much videos as you can. But through the years, you get more established with it. You learn a little bit more every year, and we've learned quite a bit through the years now. And it constantly grew, and it's just something about it, I guess. Just being outside, being in the environment there with hunting. There's something almost primal about it, and it it feels good to do, right? So something that was really attracted to us there, and we've had a gun license for a long time as well. We've been shooting for a long time, and so it was just very very drawn for it right from the beginning and right from trying it out, and it was something that we couldn't stop.
Yeah. For myself, I would say it was very organic. Started off at a young age with sticks, and wasn't allowed to have firearms in the house with my parents. And then when I moved out, was right away get our PAL, our firearm acquisition license here in Canada, and get myself a Tikka 223 heavy barrel right off the bat. And I joined the MPRA, which is the Manitoba Rifle Association. And turns out they do long range F-class shooting. And I just basically jumped right into the deep end right off the bat. And I learned a lot from these old guys. I was the youngest one there. Everyone's like retired and whatnot. And I did that for like 5-6 years. And then basically it was like $1 was $1. So it wasn't that bad. And then the dollar tanked and I just couldn't keep up with it no more. So transitioned more into hunting and learning all that precision shooting that I learned there, transitioned that into hunting, and found a love in the bush doing that, regardless of walking miles and getting lost sometimes, never getting a chance to even take a shot off. It's still pretty fun, and I love to do that. And now I've got a young 2-year-old boy that I'm gonna raise up and get him in there as soon as I can myself. I know Josh's kid, he's already shooting like 1-inch groups with his 22 at 100 yards already. He's like,
he's 9 years old.
He's
9 years old. Yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, so it's been good. It's been always like the optics, the science behind it, the mechanics of it, all that, and I've always been good with my hands and putting things together. So yeah, it was just very organic for me, and it just kind of fell in there, and it's been an awesome ride.
So a bit of a background there for us is that we were in business beforehand. My brother and I, we ran a couple different businesses and such. And Jared was in the construction world, and I know Jared for quite a few years. And we had an opportunity to buy this new company, and this this new company was called Scorpion. And so we kind of looked over the numbers. Things looked good. We had a good chance for us to design. We had a good business background, but there's a chance to design that integrate that passion with business.
Yeah.
So when we saw that, we jumped onto it. My brother and I, we bought the company at first there, and then I reached out to Jared because we were shooting beforehand before even getting involved with the company together, and that's something we had always been talking about. And then so right away, Jared kind of joined us and jumped on board as well. So that was kind of the start of us, getting into it as a business together.
Mhm.
And that was a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
So then how did Telson Optics come about? You said Scorpion, so tell us kind of the evolution to Telson.
Yeah, so Scorpion Outdoors was the company that we purchased, and right from the get go, having a business mindset, we knew a lot of the things that we wanted to change, things that we wanted to bring forward, some of the evolution that we could do with inside the product right off the bat, being users in the field already, and so we started already working out a new premium line that we wanted to come forward with. But anytime you start doing premium optics OEM builds, it takes a couple of years to come forth of that. So it's something we have been working on already for the past couple of years, and that's when we were working on the name, but we wanted it to have a clear, I guess, a clear separation between the two lineups of what we're bringing forth. Everything that was built, Telson has been touched or partly made from Japan, has Japanese glass. And we wanted to make sure that there was a clear distinction between those two product lines, so that we created the company name, Telson. So the brand name is called Telson Optics for what we're coming forward with and what we're going to be entering into the US as well with.
So what does Telson mean?
So Telson is, like I was saying earlier in the prequel, there was we're doing a lot of searching on names, and everything from thesauruses to Greek mythology and everything. And then I just kind of started looking up parts of the Scorpion and came across the Stinger, and then that was the Telson, and it just kind of had a good ring to it, and brought it up, and was just like, hey, how about Telson Optics? And it took off from there.
That sounds like a really good thing, because you're taking your Scorpion optics and you're kind of targeting in on what you want to make. And also, I was not chuckling at you there. I was chuckling at the magical milkshake that appeared out of the air of Jennifer's camera there.
My husband loves me.
I'm pretty jealous right now. It looks like a good milkshake.
It's Chick-fil-A too.
Oh man,
Cool.
That's like the best.
you get
That's something I hear. We got a Chick-fil-A coming to Canada here.
Really?
Apparently,
Oh,
yeah. Just got news of that there's Chick-fil-A being built right here in Winnipeg. So that's pretty cool. So I get to experience it for the first time.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So what are your current roles in the company?
Well,
So go ahead, Jared.
go ahead. I'll do. So I'm taking care of a lot of the product development and the warranty side of the company. So whenever there's, like, for warranty, someone calls in, questions, tech support, all that kind of fun jazz, I get to work with everyone in hand with that. So when someone calls us, you're getting myself or Josh or Brandon. You're getting the owners of the company right off the bat. You're not talking to someone and then depending on how that problem is or concern, you're not having to go up that ladder of talking to a computer first kind of thing, right? So you're getting organics right away. And then with the product development kind of thing, it's like a dream come true in a way, where you get to now design your perfect optic. Like it's a fun job. I won't say it's not, but at the same time, it's incredibly stressful too.
A lot of tests in the field.
Lots of testing.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I manage. Yeah, I manage a lot of the project development. So we have a headquarters being set up right now in South Africa. So we have our product is launching in South Africa in the next couple months, in the company there. So we're working on that there. We also have the product development, and we're setting up a headquarters in the US. So I do a lot of the project development there, and then when I'm not doing those things, I'm working on a lot of times sales. So I get to chat with the dealers and the customers there. A lot of shows for traveling around to get talk up our product to everybody. So that's always fun and exciting too.
Yeah. A cool thing though, as well, with the warranty being going into the States and South Africa, is we're going to have a warranty department in country, because I know a lot of issues when it comes to going over the borders. There's taxes, time, shipping. Canada Post is notorious for getting stuff lost once it leaves the border. South Africa, you always hear about those stories where someone's waiting a year and a half and they're 6 months in and they say screw it, and they're looking to buy a new scope right away, where we're going to be able to then service the industry very very efficiently, and that was a big goal of ours as well with Telson Optics.
That is good. We're very fortunate to be, here in the States where, I could send one of my scopes out and have it, like, I could mess it up at a match one weekend and have it back in my hands repaired by the next weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something like when it comes to the Scorpion products right now, that's what people get to experience with us now. If Scorpion was in the States, you're not getting that. It shows up on a Monday, it's in their hands Friday,
Yeah.
for like that match that weekend, right? So it's I think it's a huge perk that we're going to be bringing to the industry for servicing people.
Definitely. Like I've had, I use my scopes. They get broken. It's generally dumb things I do. Like literally one time I unscrewed my thread protector to holding the rifle straight up, unscrew the thread protector, drop the thread protector down onto the glass of the scope.
And scratched it.
Uh-huh. It's
Wow.
amazing what happens when you drop a heavy piece of steel on a piece
That
of
is true.
glass.
That is true.
And
You give me a bad rap for breaking stuff, but I think you've broken more scopes than I have.
I've broken a lot of scopes. There's that one. There was the brand new first time I bought it out, like just released scope that was on the B14R that I dropped off the roof.
Was it a slightly sloped roof?
Oh, it was a super sloped roof.
Just saying, if you need anything drop tested, send it to Greg.
Right on.
Actually, funny story about that. Jared and I were just at a match, and we were shooting this match, and they basically had a slightly sloped roof that they were shooting off of, and Jared kind of picking up the brass at the very end there, and it was a really windy day. I think we're dealing with like 45, 50 kilometer-an-hour winds.
Yeah,
about 20-ish, 25 miles an hour. And Jared's gun actually fell off the prop that was there, and it landed like directly on our new scope that we were testing out, one of the new Telson one.
Right on a
So
2x4, just head over heels, whack.
Yeah,
Everyone's looking going like, oh no.
Yeah, a good 4 or 5 foot drop there, and it was a pretty hard drop too, because the guns, once you got all the weights on the chassis, everything, it weighs like 25 pounds. And so but next round, Jared cleared the entire stage, so we didn't even have to recheck it. Yeah, so it was it was a good test there for the product.
Real world test.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Greg, you're gonna have to get one of these Telson after. It's gonna.
Yeah. I'll tell you how it'll break. I'm good at it in shooting, and gosh, you should see some of the stuff I could tear up at work. It's fun. So, what's the most common challenge your team encounters on a day-to-day basis?
I would say one of the
Go ahead, Josh.
one of the biggest things that we do encounter right now, I would say, is probably user error. So like on a day-to-day, so like even right now with some of the Scorpion products that we have there, 97% is actual user error. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with it, mounting issues. There's so many things we find. There's so many specifications, so many things that people can overlook when you're shooting, right? And you get the common, I missed a deer at 300 yards. Well, like where you're shooting on something, right? Where you propped on something, where you stabilized. We had one guy, like we even had one scenario once where a guy mounted his scope and he had a 20 MOE rail or ring, and he put the ring on backwards. So he's shooting at first. He goes, well, I can't hit the target. I said, well, go to 25 yards, see what happens. So he hits the target. It's like 6 inches off. I say, okay, go back to 50 now. So he goes back to 50, shoots. He's like, oh, I'm 3 feet off now. And I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I realize, I'm like, well, is your objective or ocular lens higher? My objective. And I'm like, well, your rings are on backwards.
So, 20 minutes later calls us back and he's like, yeah, it's all good.
That's
so it's a lot of little things like that. Like we had another one, guy was certain the scope was broken, but after we tested the scope, did all their tests, and then after actually doing a once over on everything, we're like, well, can we see your gun? Bring your gun in. So he brings the gun in, we do a full once over, and like near the trigger there, the action screw was sheared, so it was all loose inside there. So it was like, right, well, there's your problem, right? So a lot, but one of the biggest things that we're dealing with right now is, almost some of that education within guys that are newer, or they mounted their own equipment, we've seen guys torque their rings to like 40, 50 inch pounds, and they crush completely their scope because they're just doing it by hand. They don't have a torque screwdriver or nothing. Right. So magnification doesn't work. And yeah, so like even funny, even if the guys don't do it.
Well, they torqued it to the point where it's like the tube is dented and like crushed, and it's just like, you use an impact gun on this.
Yeah. Well, even some points it's not, but a guy can't move his magnification, so he sends the scope in. We're moving it, like he doesn't check it again. We're moving it just fine, like nothing wrong with it. And it turns out, you can pinch it enough that you just can't move past a certain point, right? So just little things like that, that can make a really big difference. If the rings are canted at hair, your mounting is going to be a problem, or they used all their internal adjustments, to figure that out, or they're wondering why their magnification works well. It's a clear image on lower settings, but the moment they go all the way up to max settings, it's blurry. Well, usually that's a mounting issue within scope eye relief, height of the scope, right? You're not perfectly in the eye box. So those little things like that, that's a lot of the times what we're helping educate our current customer base on, and making sure that, they understand their products, how to use the products, and how to properly mount them.
Yeah. Because it's a saving factor on their part too, right? Because it's $50, average to ship a scope to us, just for us to tell them it's all good and then send it back. So it's just, to save the customer money in the shipping costs, we're going to start having more and more of educational videos, you could say.
That's what I was about to say, is it sounds like y'all should do a YouTube video of like, troubleshooting items. Do y'all have like a YouTube channel or a Facebook page that y'all post them on?
Yeah, so right now it's Scorpion Outdoors on YouTube. So that, again, like all the social media is eventually going to transition over to Telson Optics. So there's going to be a lot of posts in the next month or so, saying, hey, make sure that you're following Telson Optics. It's not a glitch. You're right. So if you're still following it, it changes one day and you're wondering what's going on, that's what it is. Just, all that.
That's awesome. So you kind of talked about some of the different things, but what are some of the projects that you've been working on that people can look forward to coming out soon?
Oh, so there's lots. So coming straight out of Japan, there's going to be our Target Master Victory. So that's an optimized 8x optical system. So that's a mouthful right there. That's a 5-32 by 56. So pretty much over 2 and a bit years of working with them and tweaking the optical system to get just that little bit more out of it is, I don't know if most people would have done it, but I think what we've been seeing and what we've been getting back from feedback from the public and other shooters is that it was worth the wait. And that one there is going to be our top tier. It's going to be
one of our flagships there.
Yeah, our flagship scope. Yeah. So purely designed for competition shooting. 30 mils. Or 29.5 mils rotation with over 2 turns, indicator, 32 mils total adjustment. Japanese apochromatic ED glass, the works.
Yeah, it's going to be coming out about a $19.95 price point. And one of the cool things is that there's a lot of features that are coming with it. So you're going to be getting like the Tenebrex flip up covers. You're going to be getting an ARD sunshade. So those are all little added features that a lot of times you have to go out and spend $250, $300 add-on that you're actually getting right in the box for the $19.95 price. So that's pretty cool. That'll be coming out close to Christmas time. That'll be when we're going to be having a SHOT Show there for one of the releases there. So we'll be at SHOT Show this year, so we're pretty excited about that, showing off all the new products. The other one that to complement it with a little bit of a crossover we have is the 318 by 50. That one's doing it in a 30 millimeter tube. And that one will also have a 2-turn indicator as well on there.
Yeah, so that's like your crossover, made for hunting, competition, your NRL hunter style matches where weight is an issue. So you go with the 30 mil tube and some other factors that to kind of cut that weight down a bit.
Both products will boast a 99.8% light transmission in the glass.
Yeah.
So they both have the apochromatic lens in it. I believe off the top of my head, we're looking at around a $1,400 price point for this one. It will come with the ARD sunshade as well, and it'll have the Tenebrex flip-up covers built in there too. And then we got a couple other, more economical options. We got a 2.5 to 15 by 44 being built with a 30 millimeter tube. We'll have an RDS system for that. So that's our famous range dial shoot. So you'll actually be able to basically, you range your target, whatever your target is. Let's say it's 400 yards. You change it to the 4 marker, is 400 yards, and you take a shot. Like, all the economics are calculated. We got everything figured out. Scorpion's been doing the range dial shoot system for close to 12 years now. And it's a system that a lot of people love. And so that's pretty exciting that we're going to bring that to market with the current caps that we have. So that'll be kind of neat, but it won't be on the higher end. It'll be more in your economic mid-tier. We actually have sorry, go ahead, Jared.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, I'm really excited for this one here. For hunting scope, it's like, it started off, like, the RDS started off with that Red Hot, where it was a ballistic turret cap put on. It didn't have a zero stop. It wasn't locking. Totally usable, easy. It was basically for $300 Canadian, and you get you out to the range and you're smoking gophers, as far as that ballistic turret can get you out there for a 22 up to 2250s and so on. And then from there, the Series 30 became a locking turret, ballistic turret system, but it didn't have a zero stop. Then the Toxin it was a capped with a zero stop, but it wasn't locking. So it was like kind of all these like different, evolutions of the range dial shoot system. And now we've taken everything and what all, the public and everybody's been requesting and whatnot, and then being able to put that into one scope. So now you've got a ballistic turret system that's going to have your mills and your MOA as well on the same face, locking turrets with a zero stop, ED, Japanese ED glass, 44 objective with 30 mil tube, great eye box, great eye relief for high calibers, 300 Win Mags and whatnot. Like, for me, I'm shooting it at like 4.5, inches with my 300 Win Mag. Low profile. It's going to have our Razorback knurling, which is our proprietary knurling that we came up with. That's all these new scopes are going to have this knurling that I think so far everyone's looked at as like, that's a dope knurling. So, and then from there, there's going to be
Jared, hold up. Jared, you have the knurling there. Hold up the one scope there. Hold up the 318.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, show and tell.
Is it
Very cool logo.
visible?
Yes.
You see how it's like almost sawtoothy?
That is
Yeah.
pretty dope.
Instead of just having one with the
Here,
smaller.
it's more predominant on the mag wheel there.
Oh, that's sick looking there.
Yeah.
So that's the 3-18 by 50 there. It's called the Toxin.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have a 5-25 coming out as well, and it's actually going to be a 10 mil 3-turn indicator.
Yes.
So it's got a really nice turret cap system. It's done with a 34 millimeter tube, but it's brought in a little bit better price point there to be a little more economical, and also even hit some of the production price levels for some of the like NRL. I believe the limit is around, is it 15, Jared?
1500
Yeah.
US. Yeah.
1500 USD. So we wanted to make sure we hit some of these price points with some of the optics that we came out with, so that we could hit, the production class, the open class, as well. And we got some great binoculars, as well as some range finders, very fast, very quick, very efficient. We got a red dot that we've been working on. That's the Scorpion that'll be transitioning over. It's a sweet red dot, great for IPSC, for shooting competitions. We're working on a smaller unit as well, so that for concealed carried situations. We got a really wicked tripod that we're going to be coming out with in the next couple months as well. So it's got a one turn leg. It's got one extension. It's a little bit longer. It's done as a competition tripod, super light.
Inverted.
Inverted. Yeah, very, very easy to use and very fast. And we've got a lot of great reviews. We got a couple of videos of Jared holding on to it, holding all his body weight. So it's holding a good 235 pounds on it, and the thing's solid.
Ain't that heavy.
Solid unit.
I was about to say, dude, you just sold them out.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm like
let me
220.
just give you a
It's
clue.
solid 220.
If we're ever hanging out and I hang from your tripod and we go on a live show and you say all X amount of pounds, or in reference to me, we're gonna fight, and I would just say.
Only doing that to Jared.
Yeah.
That's right. Don't ask my age or my weight.
I
So
wanted to.
Y'all
Sorry,
said
I
a
want
lot.
to touch back on that
Oh, go ahead.
5 to 25. So, like Josh was saying, to get to that NRL 22 base class is right now there's like 2-3 scopes that are mainly used in that for the price point and the functionality of them. So,
Hmm.
you know, now you're gonna have that like 95 MOA or 100 MOA or so of total internal adjustments, 30 mils of evolution in 3 turns with an indicator, basically just like the Mark IV and the Gen 3 Razor. A 56 Japanese ED lens for an objective lens. Again, great eye relief. These things are tanks as well, because we beat the crap out of them, you know, to the point where if someone were to bring in a scope and send it into us and be like, hey, it doesn't track no more, or it's blurry, you know, we know, especially for our binoculars, hey, these binos, they're double vision. I know that they dropped them off the Eiffel Tower pretty much because we took it to that extreme to see what it would take to get to that point. And we're very pleased on the durability of these products. Very, very pleased. That was another thing too. We want to have it to be robust. You know, I want this stuff to outlast yourself to then transfer to your next of kin and so on and so forth. You know, last thing you need to do is go on a big hunting trip and something stupid happen and not track on you no more, right? And then you got that 160 point buck in front of you, and then, you know, it's off because it fell, right? So there's lots of due diligence in a lot of these products that we're putting out there for reliability.
So what's the price point on that 5 to 25?
That one's going to be $850 USD. So on purpose, in effect, because your CZ 457 and the Tikka T1X with that scope, you'll be just under the $1,500 price range by like $50 or something like that.
Pretty
So
cool.
yeah,
So
it's going to
you
be
said
a no-brainer.
Y'all said a lot of things. So tell me, just recap really quick. So what is available now?
So now, well, everything that we're talking about right now is going to be available in SHOT Show 2025. So we're talking about right now will be there, ready to go for full unveil, right? So
We do have
rushed.
a 12 by 50 binocular though that is out. That
Yes.
you know, that has an HD model there, so that is out. We do have our rangefinders that are already out, and then as well as a 6 to 24 by 50 Target Master Wildcat. That's available as well. So got a couple guys in the Telson line. We do, and then we have quite a few products throughout the Scorpion with the LPVOs and a few other scenarios there. But we got some of those products actually won't be brought into the US just due to some actually the trademarking names with some licensing stuff. So I got to watch a couple of the names that we called the products that have similar names to other things, so we can't actually bring them into the US. So yeah, just again due to, you know, licensing kind of issues.
God, aren't those always fun?
Yeah, yeah, those trademarks.
Yeah.
So what would you guys say is the biggest challenge facing your industry right now?
The biggest challenge, I would say, economics. You know, the dollar's tanking, the way our country's at, your guys, you know, in the States, how things are kind of coming along, I think would be the biggest problem, threat, you know, to the industry.
Definitely noticing a shift on like buyers and how they spend their dollars now. So it's just watching that has been very interesting, and definitely actually been kind of leading in terms of how we're developing our products as well. So like, you know, people are being a little bit more, you know, like 2020 was amazing, right? And you had a great year and everybody was buying whatever they could get their hands on.
Yeah.
But now people are being a little bit more cautious with their money, right? They only buying things that they need or products that are going to be actually upgrades compared to what they have. So some of those driving factors are really determining on what we're coming out with to make sure they do fit within clients' needs. They are going to be very versatile in what we offer, so that they don't need to, you know, you don't need to spend too much everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and of course, you know, government policies are right, that those have been challenging, especially in Canada right now. I mean, we're facing a lot of, you know, scrutiny over with our government. They're constantly attacking, you know, gun rights and you know, and we don't have as clear cut of a law like in the US. You know, you guys have that law that says you have the right to bear arms. Technically in Canada, we don't have that
Yeah, we
right,
don't got that.
right? So it's really is a fight against our government there to make sure that they do, they there is a value there that we're pushing back on it. Like I know we with that Bill C-21, they tried to sneak in all semi-autos, which include like hunting rifles, hunting shotguns, like everything, anything semi-auto. It even included paintball guns because technically those were semi-autos, and
Yeah.
it was just crazy. So, but then it was nice to see because everybody came out and really fought back and pushed hard, and they ended up dropping it because they knew that there was a one heck of a fight in there for them, and that they weren't going to win. So they actually did let that go, which was pretty amazing. So it's so there's always challenges with that, right? You're always keeping a scrutiny on the government, what they're doing, what policies are coming out with, and making sure that it's going to line up. That's one of the reasons too. We're very excited with our expansion and going into the U.S., going into South Africa, right? We want entering territories there that do appreciate that a little bit more. They love U.S. loves their gun rights, and so do we, right? Like I believe it even goes past those gun rights. It goes into its traditional values. Like we said before, it's kind of primal, right? You're feeding your families. There's a lot of conservative values to owning a gun and hunting, being able to protect yourself. And I do think those are very important. So, pushing back, making sure those policies are not going to hinder, the, what's it called? The industry.
Yeah.
So what is the driving factor behind the development that y'all are doing in your industry? Is it to help grow hunting or competition? Like what drives y'all to develop new things?
I think a little bit of everything, like Josh and I are both consumers, right? So we started off buying what we could afford, years ago and whatnot. And you're always, sometimes you gotta make that sacrifice on the features and what you really want to what you can afford, so trying to, blend those two and bring that gap a little closer with good stuff. Plus nowadays, like 10 years ago, sure, you gotta, still a kid need to get something real good, but technology's really caught up out there and you can get a lot of scope now for $1,000 US, like a lot of scope.
I think also too a big driving factor on our decision to come out with products and design stuff is that as Jared mentioned that we are users. We've both had a chance to experience some pretty high end optics, and we both experienced some of the lower end optics, and we really had a chance to now that customer experience is really important to us, and that's something that we really wanted to push forward on. Like right now, one of the biggest things that drives me nuts is walking into a store, buying something, and they don't give me a bag for it because we ban plastic bags. Like it drives me absolutely nuts. Like what am I supposed to do? Walk out with 47 items?
You're supposed to juggle those apples.
Yeah, so it's so that's one of the things, and I do feel like a lot of places are going away from that. I feel like since COVID, they pushed a lot of things online. You're losing a little bit of that customer experience, and one of the driving factors with Telson is that customer experience goes well beyond a box. You're not buying a product, taking it home. You got a box. Well, you got the product. Good for you. Go ahead, shoot. Like there's a whole level of customer experience that comes with that owning that product that we want to offer, right? And that comes back to us having that warranty department. And I don't want to single any names or brands out, but there's certain brands you've heard about. I got to ship it across seas, or I gotta and I gotta do it's going to take 7 months to get an optic back, and you got people that are very frustrated, right? And so we take that, we look at the customer experience there, and we're like, well, we don't want to do that. So any country we're going to enter with our product line, we're going to have a warranty department in that country, like without doubt. It goes on without saying. So that way we can do it, like, because right now we're averaging less than 12 days on a warranty. So it's like I want to make sure everywhere we go, it's less than 12 days on a warranty. So that's if there is one, right? And that you do have a great system if it's there for when you need it, right? Because things happen, right? They're mechanical, things happen on the line, right? You're in a lot of different economics and environments and stuff, and right. And as much as you do as many vigorous tests as you can do, it can happen. But when it does happen, you got one of the best, not only the best warranty, you got some of the best service and best customer experience in the industry. So that's one of the big push that we have. Everything we look at, everything we do, it's how easy is it to use the product? How simple is it? What's the results it's going to get you? And what's that experience like when you are using it?
Yeah. Well, that's like really where that range dial shoot system comes in, like there's a lot of hunters out there where it's like they just, Kentucky windage, aim high, hit low type, right? I've seen it go horribly wrong where the guy hit, he was like, I was aiming 4 inches high and smoked low in the gut, and it was a brutal hit. So, that range dial shoot where if he had that and that was like, oh, that's 450, 475 yard shot, just turn it to that number and away you go, and a lot of the, stock caps, because we'll do custom caps, like custom turrets for somebody, give us all the information that we request and we'll get it for you and away you go. Just don't change your recipe. Or the stock turret caps where, your factory ammunition and whatnot. So that's something that I don't think anyone else in the industry is providing is stocked caps for ammunition. And then to dial that in and get that plus minus 3 inches out to 600 yards, I think was a pretty cool thing we're able to do. So a 6-inch plate at 600, doesn't matter if it's a Hornady, Sierra, Barnes, of the same weight out of that gun, you're gonna have plus minus 3 inches up down on for elevation on that. So
it's a kill shot.
That's a kill shot. So say you're going on a flying moose hunt and you got particular ammo, it doesn't make it. You go to the outfitter, whoever, and he's got the same weight, just a different brand. You should totally be confident taking that, loading it up, and away you go. Just reconfirm your zero if you want to. But as far as the ballistics data on that turret cap, it's like a click, up down difference between most that what we've been kind of noticing in our research. So it's a foolproof system, to be honest.
So you were talking about the warranty in all of the other countries and that helping. I do a lot of work with the IPRF, the International Precision Rifle Federation, and I know a lot of those guys in other countries have a hard time with getting products and like getting them across borders, importing different things. So I think that's really neat that y'all are going to do the different warranty, have the warranty within the country, warranty service. I think that's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that'll be crucial.
So Greg had a live question.
Yes. Stephen asks, can someone explain the 8X optimized zoom?
So pretty much when we reached out to, and we're working with our engineers, there's some American engineers and some Japanese engineers. We asked them if they can do, it ends up being like a 5.36 or something like that by 32. So you just call it a 5 times, to make things simple. It's but there's some stuff that they were working on that we're, it's going to be hush hush on our end just for the sake of secrets in the industry kind of thing. So they worked with the optic system. There's computer programs essentially that you can lens placements and whatnot. They're the ones that would have the better answer. The way they explained it to me is what they were doing made sense. But at the same time, it's our golden egg.
Just to also tack onto that, just because I'm a little bit of a math nerd, it works out to like a 6.4 times optical system, to be exact. Yeah. And the reason why we did that over just going with like basic 8 times, like a 4 to 32 or something, was just on the simple fact that when you are an 8 times optical system, you do have to comp in certain fields because of how large the magnification difference is. And because you're comping on those fields, you have to reduce in certain glass quality, you have to reduce in certain other fields, a rector tube, the ability for it to move and track that full amount. So we went with that 6.4, why we call it an optimized 8 times system, just so that we could tweak a few more things inside there by not having such a long, spread of magnification difference.
Yeah, that's why you kind of notice like a 3 times, like a 3 to 9, can have so glass and it's got a good view because it's a 3 times optical system. And then for the longest time, that 624 was the king of the hill at a 4 times optical system. And then it got more and more and more. And now you got up to 10 times optical system, and they're pricey because of the glass quality and engineering that is involved in making a 10 times system worth it to look down. Because if it was crap glass, it's just going to be you're looking down a blurry tube at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny how a lot of that's changed and improved over the recent years. It's
Yeah.
definitely coming somewhere for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what mindsets do you guys have as a business that kind of helps you stand out?
I think that the want to constantly improve, then again, I guess a lot of people, in the industry are always, wanting to improve at the same time. I think we've kind of, hit that, I guess, what's that one saying, like you're last out of the gate. So you've seen where everyone's kind of gone with theirs, so you're like, okay, well, here's a hole in the market right now. We can attack that, and we can go heavy in here. And having that range dial shoot system is one of those niches that I've been noticing lately now. Quite a bit of different manufacturers are jumping on the ballistic turrets. Actually, electro optics are another thing in the future, but I think there's a lot of work involved with that because batteries hate the cold. And look at the United States nuclear deterrent system. It's all run off analog, right? It doesn't fail.
That is true. You make some
Mhm.
electronic and it's got definitely
Right. So
more
Yeah.
area for fail. That's like my emergency brake in my car. I do not want an electronic emergency brake. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things too that comes back down to, I want to mention, is the customer experience as well. And that we do as users too, like we use that products, and those are the disciplines that we use to help change the products that we want to come out with. We also team up quite a bit. Like, it's not just our words, not us just looking at it. We go out into the field, we give a lot of product out to certain people for testing, and we get a lot of feedback, right? Like, for when it comes to the reticles that we designed inside these, some of the new telescopes here, we actually, we worked with Ilya Koshkin on some of the development there. He's known as the Dark Lord of Optics inside there, and he helped us design some of the and tweak some of the reticles that we'd come with to get that, what would look good and what we wanted it to, appeal and have that versatility in the field.
Yeah.
So that, that helps a lot too with, when you're getting that feedback from professionals that have been in the field for a long time and they're using the products in some of the harshest conditions, and they're, they're testing out these products for you. It really helps narrow down, to what you want to do and how you want to, come out with it for a final model.
Yeah. Yeah. I think reaching out there to Ilya was a huge help in the fact of really refining these reticles to like a very mature reticle that we are starting off with, where some others out there, it's kind of been that, build up to get to that point where we've just almost leapfrogged to like an incredible optic. The reticle in the 3D18 we have here is illuminated only 3 mils by 3 mils by 3 mils. So at 3 power, it's like a floating duplex for hunting, right? And then the tree kind of goes away. And then you zoom in, you've got all your information that you need, and totally usable for competitive shooting. 0.06 mil stadia line, so it's a little bit thicker, so you can see it in the bush lines, whatnot. We were told by quite a bit of guys who do NRL Hunter, they quite like that for having the lines up against the bushes, being able to see that and make accurate holds. And then for just general hunting, it's a very usable reticle, between that and the Victory as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any like habits or things that you do? Y'all been very successful, right? You've had a couple businesses, you said, and you've had Scorpion, and now you're transitioning over to Telson. Do you have any habits or practices that have helped you with professional growth?
For me, I would say the amount of public that I talk to and the different characters that come across in the industry, and everybody, there's always every other day some random person who just happens to be, like the other day I talked to a guy who was he worked with Leica, and he had a Scorpion scope that he sent it for warranty. I got him fixed up and sent it back. I talked for that guy for like 2.5 hours. about optical design and testing, optical testing equipment and everything, right? So it's like I learned just talking to that guy. Ilya has been a huge, tremendous help in, some of the back end engineering aspects of the optical systems and everything. So it's a lot of note taking when you talk to that guy, because it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Almost need a voice recorder.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we take feedback very, very seriously, and we take and we have the ability to pivot very quickly. So that's one thing, like we've taken a product that was like it was about to be a final model and ready to go. And we get enough feedback from stuff, and just a little bit more came back at the end there. We talked to a few more people, tweaked the thing, and honestly, we're like, we called up the place and we're like, never mind, cancel it. Like, we're tweaking it again. So then they're like, well, we're about to, it's fine, we're still going out with the project, but there's a few two more tweaks we want to do that what's going to make it even better. So it's funny because we've shot ourselves in the foot with a couple times with coming out with some of the new products we have, just by delaying it again, just because we can make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's been a big advantage, and we're very open to talking to people, and people like to share the stories and talk, and we find we take that and we try to how can we fit that into the business, how can we take what they said as a learning experience, right, and come up with a product that could serve that person who had a failure at one point or had. So I feel like that really helps, and then that ability to quickly pivot has been a huge asset for us, to tweak it to where we already are with some of the products that we're developing, and the products that we're going to be very proud with coming out with.
Yeah, no, very, very receptive when it comes to public opinion and suggestions and whatnot. We're not like hard-headed, like this is what we're gonna do, and there's no change in my mind. Someone comes in and they say they got a suggestion, and it's just like, yeah, that guy makes sense. Let's talk. So it's been for the good. I can honestly say that.
So we're about at the midpoint of the show. Remember, if you're watching us live on Facebook, ask any questions you may have in the comment section of the video. We'll ask it live on air. Other ways to catch us, you can always check back on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. Videos all stay up forever. We usually upload to all the podcast apps the night after the show, then finally everything eventually ends up on the Shooter's Mindset YouTube page. So that's a great place to look up past episodes. So what are some of the predictions that you guys have of where your industry's heading, for where's the optic industry going to be in the future? Like
we touched on earlier, I touched on like the electro optics. I think that's going to be huge in the coming future. But at the end of the day, it's like night vision, it was incredibly expensive, right? And then over the years, technology kind of came around, and now night vision's more acceptable to civilian market. I think that's kind of like the electro optics in a way, where right now it's a $2,500, $3,000-$4,000 hit in the wallet, and it'd be nice to have, but the average guy probably can't do it. And now I think later on, when technology kind of gets a bit more, that price may drop, but there's always going to be room for that analog system, for the people who just want something that's just, they know never going to fail, right? Like I personally don't care for a battery to die on me, and now I'm, especially for where we hunt in like -20 to -30 sometimes. It's batteries don't last long for us.
Do you know how many scopes I have that have a battery compartment that I've never even opened?
Do you know what the chances of me ever hunting or doing anything in weather that is like what you just said, 20 below? I don't walk outside when it's 20 above.
I've been in the morning where it's like -15 to -20 with a wind chill, to noon where you're basically in a t-shirt and you're sweating because you're pushing bush and you're hiking so much, to the evening where it's back down to -15 or whatever, not as cold, but then the system rolls in and it's a blizzard. You can't see 40 feet in front of you.
That's a whole lot of hope.
Josh has been rained on, soaking wet. I've been rained on. It's if
you're not gonna rain, I cannot do 20 below ever. Like
it's the inconsistency that's the worst deal. Like if you go out and it's -12 and it's -12 all day, that's not bad. But when it's like, what Jared said, you're all sweaty later on, then you got to bundle back up, and it's those times are the most
Well,
challenging.
yeah, like when you're driving 6 hours to get somewhere to go hunting, and you're not driving back home the same day to go in your bed, right? Like you're either camping or you're reclining that truck seat back, and you do what you got to do.
You Canadians are crazy, because did you just say you were sweating at 15 above?
Well, if you're hiking through, yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
gets hot.
especially when you're bundled up and you're wearing layers. Like you're taking layers off, and you got a backpack full of layers. And
There's
then
not
it
enough
just starts
layers
to
in the
plummet.
world. And you want to talk about batteries? I need like heated jackets. Like, there's no way at all. So, I have a question based on the talking about electronics and all of that. At what point do you think, and I'm talking about sport, not hunting. I'm talking about, NRL, PRS, precision rifle matches. At what point do you think we go over the curve of like having too much, like the scope is doing too much for you? And
I think
Yeah.
we're very
It's
close
about
to being
skill.
there. I think we're
Yeah,
very, very close to being
it's
there.
funny. It's funny you mentioned that, because Jared and I were laughing about that. Like, it's getting to a point, I find, at some stuff here, it's like it's almost getting like, not as challenging as it could be, right? Like everything's almost and because of that, they're like focusing more on speed. Like you see that with PRS, right? Like 22s. Well, it's like, how fast can you do it now? Because you have all this gear that's been like, hey, shoot exactly there, and you're going to be within a couple inches. So I honestly think, I was talking to Jared a little bit about this too, that we think it would be cool to almost, if there was a league where you actually banned some of that equipment. You had to, you had a bit more time, and you had to learn, like you had to watch the trees, you had to watch the elements a little bit more.
Yeah,
You're
really
using the
learning
elements
the
around you.
environment.
To like, I would think that would be a really fun competition to shoot at, right? Maybe less stages, but everybody gets a little extra time, but you're spending that time, and then that's just history, right? It goes down to like, how many times have you shot? Like we shot with a guy up in Canada there, that I don't know, how old is Mike there? He's been shooting forever. Mike can look at the trees and tell you what the wind call is, and he'll hit the target within 2-3 inches. Like it's pretty amazing, actually, right? Like he's like a human rangefinder / kestrel.
Yeah, he's a
So-
bloody kestrel.
Yeah. So pretty cool to see that, right? So I would definitely love to see that in competitions more and more, that they start doing more organic, shooting a little bit more than having something where it's all dialed in.
So, like Jen, to your question there, what is like with technology gets to the point where it's just too much. At SHOT Show this past year, I saw at different areas on the floor different technologies that if you put it together, you could have, say, a sniper team challenge, and you're glassing your targets, and you can lock on, and using an altimeter, compass, and range finding functions, lock those targets in a 3D map, essentially, Bluetooth that information to your rifle scope. And then as you're panning with the rifle scope, it'll have arrows being like, look over here, with like a total electronic rifle scope. So you're
It's a video
target
game.
1, target 2, target 3, and it would label all that. Like there's
Pretty much.
technology is out there right now that could make it so people could excel at shooting and be shooting for the first day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like there's just, it's too much.
It's
It's
just
cool.
funny, the
It's very
evolution.
cool.
And it's in all of the shooting sports. Like I saw it in 3-gun. When I started doing that forever ago, we were loading out of, what was that even called, Greg? Where you like pulled it out of the side thing.
I know
but
exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember what they're
They were
called.
one at a time. And then it became the dual loading, right? Where you had the thing that you could put two, and then it became quad loading. And then and it really evolved. The equipment evolved and made it, you could load a shot. Well, maybe not me, but the ones that were really good at it and practiced a lot could load a shotgun super fast. With
Yeah, the quad
Yeah.
loading where you're holding your shotgun shells and your flip. And then there's was that Jerry Mahaichuk there? Or is that how you pronounce it?
Look.
With
Yeah.
he's like 8 at once.
Yeah. And so, and I think precision rifle is kind of the same thing. Whenever I first got into it, you needed a rifle and a scope and a bag, and maybe a geoballistics or an app on your phone. And, now it's gotten to where you got to have a Kestrel, and, then there's tuners and, levels, and it's gotten to be so much. that I think it's good, but I also wonder at what point we're gonna break that curve and
Yeah.
be on the other side of it.
Like when I started off shooting back in F class, I didn't have a lot of those electronics back in the day. Then again, this is back in like 2005, 2006. I didn't have the Kestrels. I didn't have that. So it was basically, then again, you're shooting at known distance. So you didn't have to worry about that. And once you get your dope at that distance, your water line, with the reloading techniques, it's pretty solid. So you're just essentially learning your mirage, wind, flags, trees, grass, all that kind of stuff, environmentals. And then I learned that not having your scope zoomed in all the way, I had a 12 to 50 Schmidt Bender. Don't have your scope zoomed in all the way, because if you get knocked over a little and you end up aiming at the wrong target and you get a V-bolt for that guy, you're getting a 0. So I stopped doing that. But no, there was times where it's funny where if there was a wind shift and someone shot and they went to the 4 ring, it would almost be like 2-3 seconds of calm on the firing line, and you'd see everyone's heads pop up like prairie dogs looking at the environmentals, and then go back to shooting again, and it would all be back in the 5 ring and V-bolts. But there'd be the odd dude, didn't catch it, and they'd be in the 4 or the 3 because the wind changed that much. But it was always funny like that back then. But nowadays, like with PRS speed and everything that's in there, the Kestrel, without a Kestrel, you're peeing in the wind.
Yeah, you gotta have your data right. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So you talked about where you think the industry is going to go. What do you think the current state of the industry is with all the government stuff? You kind of alluded to that earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it's funny because I do find actually, business to be better a little bit when there's a liberal government in office, and that's just to the simple fact that when people are being threatened for their guns to be taken away, people buy.
Yeah,
Right,
people buy
they
more.
want to secure that, right? So so I feel like that you feel secure when there's a conservative government, and so you're not too worried about it because it'll be there tomorrow. So I find that interesting, and I do feel like it's a good mindset to have, right? Like we talked about that for Canada here when Trudeau was talking about banning everything, and I was encourage as many people as we possibly could to go get the firearm license, to go, because you're just going to make it harder and harder and harder, right? And even that number, when people coming back looking at taxpayers like, oh, taxpayers going to spend $14 billion to buy back the guns in Canada. It's like, well, where's that money coming from?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's definitely
Find it from yourself.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
me and
pretty
you,
much,
buddy.
right?
Like we're paying
But
for it.
giving it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, I was being a little bit, quotation there. Like, where is that coming from, right? So it's just, but people see that they're spending on it, and it doesn't get any better. And like a prime example of that, and not to get like too political with it, but where some of the worst gun, or like the harshest gun control is like some of the worst gun crime. Like, you look at New York, you look at Chicago, even Toronto. Like, we just banned handguns in Canada. We still have handgun shootings. Like, it's not like, well, it didn't fix the problem.
Now the good
So-
guys don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's, I mean, just in general, though, I still see like, and this is something I love to see for change for Canada. I love to see self-protection laws come into play. I know when Pierre Poilievre gets in, he's talking about reversing all the C-21 and a lot of the laws that have come into play. Because I know, like, there's a lot of research done into the U.S. and we've looked at some of these studies here before. Like, as much as there is competitive shooting and hunting that drives a big chunk of the market, which is about 62%, about 30% each one respectively. You still have about 40% of people that say that, they buy firearms for protection.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something I know that's definitely, big in the US, something that it's a little bit less economical here in Canada. We say we do, but it's very likely you're going to get a lot of shit if you do protect yourself with a firearm in Canada. Especially if it wasn't, equal.
Oh yeah, you gotta make sure that guy's got a bigger
self-defense.
gun.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So it's definitely interesting to see there, but yeah, like that current state there, and see the development, like seeing into more of the electro-optics. But then again, going back to like, there's a lot of, it's going to be interesting as we see some of the new technology that does change some of the industry, because we've gotten to a point where everything's become very efficient. If you, for example, if you make a gun lighter, right? I mean, you're changing, you're gonna have more recoil, and then so there's a lot of different. It's now almost, you got to compensate, and I think we're gonna see a little bit more of stuff coming out that's almost specialized for certain things. So you're going to have like, if a guy wants a specific gun just for this one scenario, there's going to be scopes and guns and bullets made for that scenario, because you can, we can make, a bullet go like 2 miles supersonic, right? But then you got other issues that come onto it that change as well, right? Or let's just say the materials they're using are just unaffordable. So there's lots of little things like that. So it'll be interesting to see some of the developments of that stuff there. But one of the cool things that we did notice at SHOT Show was actually a special lens inside some of the optics that they were trying out. And we never got a chance to test this, but this would be something very interesting, that they're actually bracing some of the internals with, I think it was like a certain high grade plastic, but it made the scope half the weight.
Oh,
So
plastic
that was,
plastic
yeah.
injection molded lenses.
Yeah,
Very
so
lightweight.
it was super lightweight. It was fairly, fairly good. It was also inside a building, so it's hard to do a full test. But seeing some of those things are going to be interesting to develop and play with and see how that kind of turns out.
Yeah, no, there's at SHOT Show, there's a lot of cool stuff. Like you got the Victorian floor where everyone's kind of the $1 billion companies are at. Everyone who's made it is on the Victorian or whatever they call it, right? And then there's like the bowl, and they're underneath. That's where we're gonna be, and that's where all the cool stuff is. Like there's so much cool stuff that no one's heard about, and new stuff that's coming out, and I can't wait for it. SHOT Show is gonna be awesome.
It's always fun, that's for
Yeah.
sure. So what areas of your personal life influence your work?
My hunting. Yeah, my hunting more so. Wanting to get that all around good hunting scope. That's been a tackle for many years. Getting that a low zoom for those, because like something like our 2.5 to 15 I think hits a lot of buttons. You got Ontario, dense bush, Washington or Maine for you, really thick where you don't really need much magnification, and then all the way to the prairies, to the mountains, and 15 times is pretty plenty for a long range hunting shot. So I think that optical system is going to kind of take that hit a lot of buttons on that one.
Yeah, but in terms of like personal life though, like I got 4 kids, and I want to see them grow up being capable, right? We're pretty conservative, well, I'd say very conservative, household and family, and we want to make sure our kids are growing up in a society that that's accepted, that they're capable, that they're able to handle firearms, that they can hunt, right? They say like it's almost something like, again, going back to a little bit forward, it's almost something primal, being able to do that and provide for your family and to go out and hunt and have those skills, because like like we talked about, what happens when those electro optics fail, what happens when all that battery stuff goes out or the lights go out, it's like if there's skills that are actually useful that you can go apply, right? And so we want to bringing our kids up in that lifestyle and everything, right? That really helps, I think, tailor how we operate our business and what we do. So
I'm not laughing at y'all. I just accidentally deleted all the show. We have show notes, and I hit a button, and they all went away. And I saw Craig's face be like, and I was like, hit the back button, hit the back
Control
button.
Z.
Control Z. Yeah.
And it was just amusing. I'm sorry.
Did you find them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just hit the back button. I don't know how to do much technologically, but I can hit the back button, and it came back. So
Yeah, I've got 2 kids myself, a 6-year-old, 6.5-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old son that I would like to see them both grow up, being capable in the wilderness on their own, use a compass. Not a lot of people can do that nowadays. But I think just the want to teach and get those grassroots back, is one of those things that I'm really looking forward to doing.
it's all of a sudden pouring at my house, like a lot.
Oh no, that better not come my way. I don't feel like dealing with that.
I'm not sure what my husband was doing, but he just walked in the door and he's drenched. But anyway, uh, he must have been out talking to the neighbors. So where do you see Telson in 5 to 10 years? How do you see it evolving? And what goals do you have for it?
I definitely say what we know. We're expanding, like you said, more of a foothold in South Africa and in the United States. Expanding that line into other countries as well. Just coming up with some, like, we got a lot of projects that are on the go, right? Like they're kind of like future projects. So we kind of touch base on the stuff that's going to be coming in the next 6 to 8 months out. But it's there's still a lot of things that we're working on. Like we got a laser range finding binocular that we're working on that'll be a little bit longer. So we are touching base into some of those things as well. And just coming up with a few extra new product lines, really working on how we can again tweak some of those products to make them better and come up with a full line of optics that are gonna serve a wide variety of communities, right? So between your IPSC, your targets, your 3-gun matches, PRS, ELR, just getting into more products that that are gonna kind of really come together. And one thing I think that's really exciting that we're doing with our products is we're really encompassing a lot of like the same. So let's say you buy your Telson scopes and you really love the reticle and it's amazing, right? Well, our $900 one option there has the same reticle in it as the one that's $2,000 there, right? So yes, you're getting to downplay a little bit on glass, some of the some internals there, and right, you're not getting like steel components and some of the the toughness and durability that you're going to get with that extra build there. But if you have, like a lot of people own multiple guns, right? So, if you own 10, 12 guns and you love this reticle that you're using on your high end, well, we, make it really economical to get into something that you can use these products for throughout. So I think that's really important, just to create a really smooth transitions between our product lines so that, if you're used to some of these products and you really enjoy these products, it's like, hey, we got, these fit in really well with what you're currently using. And, so yeah, so just definitely expanding into more territories, right? We want to service the industry. One of our current goals is to just really not only easy use, but like get more people into hunting. So like that's one of our big goals. We want to help expand our love for the sports and for hunting and for being out there with other people. So like we were looking at doing classes and courses and things that we can do to move forward into those territories and really help teach a new generation, right? Because you're seeing a little bit of that. We're seeing a little bit of like generational norms being broken a bit. It's not just the there's this mindset that's all older people that know how to hunt and shoot, and there's actually quite a few young people that are breaking those traditions and they're getting into that sport even though their dads didn't. We also have a really cool opportunity that, like, this is still pretty fresh, so there's a good chance that we'll be opening a safari out in South Africa as well. So that we'll have an opportunity that, not only through the optics as well, as that we'll actually be doing guided hunts in South Africa. So that's something that we'd probably be, would be up and live in the next year or two as well. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was exciting. My wife's not going to like that one.
Lots of travel.
Lots of travel.
Yeah, that's understandable.
It's for work.
That's right. When work is this fun, though. All right.
Yeah.
Jared's going to get his 12th kudu of the year.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Greg, are there any live questions we need to hit, or we covered everything?
We are good on the live side.
All right. I think we can wind it down to shout outs. I think we'll start with you, Greg. What shout outs you got?
Well, I have Hunter's HD Gold up there, the things that help me see everything. I'd say PDC Custom, but there's not here. We'll show you. There's one of the most beautiful rifle chassis known to man over there. There's not one behind me tonight. And GSL suppressors, my favorite little pew quieters over there.
Little pew quieters.
That's something I wish we had.
I
I
know.
know. America.
Yeah.
Jared, how about you?
Pardon?
How about you? Do you have any shout outs? Anybody you want to shout out?
I'd like to shout out to our friend Ilya, Ilya Koshkin there, the Dark Lord of Optics, for the tremendous help that he's kind of lent us and guided us along the way, because this is a very complicated industry and there's lots to know. And I think he's done an amazing job and become a good friend as well.
Awesome. How about you, Josh?
Shout out to you, Jennifer, there, and Greg there. Thanks for having us on the Shooter's Mindset. That was really, it was awesome there. I'm glad we ran into each other at nationals there, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's nice getting out there and just chatting to people. See, that's one of those times that really worked out. So thanks for having us on the show, and hopefully looking to come back again to tell a little bit more of some of these products when they're actually out. And we'll be at SHOT Show, so looking forward to seeing you guys there.
That's awesome. So just to recap for anybody that's watching, if they want to look at your stuff, what's your website?
So you can go to scorpionodoors.com or telsonoptics.com. Best bring you to the same website there. So go to scorpionodoors.com. You can see some of the products there. Some of the new products that are coming out are featured on the website. Some of the ones we talked about today are not yet, but they will be soon. So you can kind of take a little look out, see some of the specs already on those products and what they'll have. And if you're kind of in mind for new scope there and stuff, you want to wait a little bit, they'll be out in the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. Well, there'll be some definite pre-sale advantages, opportunities that people can utilize as well. And when the new products do start trickling in, because it's going to happen fast, and it's going to happen a lot all at once almost. It's been so much back work, behind the scenes work that we've been doing, that it's kind of frustrating in a way that's like, man, over 2.5 years, like we've been in so much, but no one knows nothing about all this awesome stuff we've been working on. So it's like, platforms like yourselves to really get out there and tell everybody about this. And then when this stuff really starts to roll in, it's going to be a force. Like, it's going to be huge.
We'll actually be in Colorado as well at the Worlds event there. So we'll be having a booth at Worlds there. We got one of our young shooters is actually qualified for Worlds there for Canada, so we'll be repping our product there. And on top of that, we'll have some demo and other products there to show off there, so people get a little taste of what's coming out and what do we have right now. So that'll be pretty cool. We're looking forward to that. I think that's in a few weeks now, right? 5 weeks or something
like that. It's coming up fast.
It is coming up fast. Oh, is it mid-September? Okay.
Flight today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're driving down.
Yeah, it's
Greg and Jen, you'll be there?
We will be there.
We'll be there.
Nice.
Yep, doing the same kind of coverage you did for nationals, so we'll be there doing that.
Perfect.
We will definitely be there. All right, and then I just want to shout y'all out for all the innovations and the hard work that you're doing to try and bring new products and with a good price point that's a little accessible. And really trying to get in the international market. I think that's really great. I think our friends in all of the other countries in the IPRF really appreciate companies that make it easy to get their products. So
awesome.
That's one thing that we're
thank you very much.
Really looking forward to is that
we're excited. We love this industry, so we're excited about it, and we're really excited that we get to do this. So
it's great, people. All right, so check them out on Facebook or at their website, and they will be at SHOT Show. So make sure you check out Telson Optics. And with that, it'll be a wrap for episode 447.